All right, so today on Hospitality Hustle, I have a special guest here. And before I get into all that, I do want to say I do know you on a personal level. So
Yes, you do.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So I have Kara Marquez here. Did I say your name right? Because I'm used to Kara Maish.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Marquez is easier than Maish.
It, you know what? Probably to most people, but to me,
Yeah.
Maish flows off the tongue really easy. But
Yeah.
So Kara, now that I have you on finally, because it took us some time to finally get this to happen, can you please tell my audience what you do and tell me a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I'm a financial advisor. To be more specific, I'm with Nautilus Wealth Management here in beautiful Southern California. Although we're in my office right now, so you can't see the beautiful beaches, but it's a beautiful day here. So we're registered independent advisors, independent fiduciaries, and yeah, I manage clients' money. I help them with their planning and uh, staying on track to reach their goals.
Well, not only are you a financial advisor, but you're mine as well. So I felt it would be good to have you
Yeah,
on the show so I could dig in a little bit. I know there's a lot of anxiety out there and a lot of nerves and a lot of scared candidates and employees on what to do with their financial situation right now because
sure.
obviously we're going through a huge recession and COVID has pretty much obliterated the market. And as you know, I'm a hospitality headhunter, so who I talk to every single day are hospitality leaders all the way from frontline to directors to SVPs. And every single one of them, no matter where they are or where they fall within the hierarchy, are worried about their money and what to do.
Of course.
Yeah.
And your
So
industry's been really hit hard.
that would be
So
putting
I,
it
yeah,
politely.
so I
Putting it
really,
politely.
I mean, I'm honored to speak with your audience on this and be a resource. I think that, especially for the industry that you're in, I mean, everybody's been impacted in some way. I think that we're in for some choppiness along the way, but America's resilient, and we'll get out of this stronger than ever. And
That's a word that I use quite often is resilient, right? So
yeah,
now is the time to really own up to that word and be resilient. And people say pivot a lot or
yeah,
being nimble. But that said, I did make a post probably about a month ago, and I asked, does anybody have any questions that you would want to ask a
okay,
financial advisor? So with that, I do have some. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and hopefully you can. Well, I know you'll be able to answer them, but I'll just shoot from the hip right now. Is that okay?
okay,
All
yeah,
right.
I'll do my best.
Okay. So here we go. I can't recall who asked these, but I'm sure they're watching. So I'll do my best to articulate the question the best I can.
Okay.
If you're debt free, have an emergency savings, and contribute the max to your 401k, what's the next step? Stock market? High interest savings? Obviously, it will depend on a person and their lifestyle priorities, but what are the top three things one should be researching money wise if those three steps are checked? That's like five questions in one, but
I know,
kind
I'm trying to absorb all of that. So if I
of.
don't
All right.
answer all of them, you can
All right. You
pipe
can.
in.
Okay. Good.
So my first question is, what's a high interest savings these days?
What is it?
Do they exist? So, okay. Well, in the question, they kind of weaved in a very important piece, which is, I mean, this really is going to come down to individual circumstances. I would say the first thing you want to do is write down your top goals and dreams, whatever they are. Don't even get into, can I afford this, right? I write it down and then assign a dollar amount. Do your best to assign a dollar amount for that. And then meet with a financial advisor to see what order you should attack those. Because I can't just say do X, Y, Z, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think, that's why planning works, is when you get into that exercise. and you're visualizing, hey, this is what I want to do. If someone could say, okay, well, if you want to do that, this is what is required. If you're just looking for a safe place to park it for a year, your options are going to be very limited. So hopefully that answers the question. I know, it's not, again, I always drive back to the planning because that is the cornerstone of everything. And I think you can attest to that, right? I mean, with some proper planning that you've done, you have an emergency, right? You're getting through because of proper planning. The worst thing you want to do, is just nobody. We know that recessions come and go.
I've been very frugal with my money my whole life, right?
Yes.
So, and it's funny about that is until this year, I was always kind of, my wife would joke around, hey, you're being a miser, or you're being too tight with your money. But now I was finally able to say, I told you so.
Yeah, and I'm sure she appreciates that. Yeah.
Aren't you glad that I was?
Aren't you glad? Miser, absolutely. Right? Yeah. And so I'm the same way with my husband, right? I'll always be that way because I like to invest. So the more money I can keep in my pocket, the better.
I mean, I like to spend money, but I also don't want to get in a situation where it's like, right? So, yeah, you're right.
There's a balance. You have to live your life. Yeah. That's a great question, though.
So here's another one. If one has a small amount to invest, say around 2K to 5K, where do you recommend to invest? Domestic and international stocks or small, mid, and large cap companies?
Okay, so again, let's assume that your financial planner has already done the planning, right? And they're saying, okay, based on this plan, you have $5,000 to invest for, a few years. I mean, I would actually invest in all those categories. You want to be diversified, maybe put a stronger weighting on, U.S. large cap growth. And then, put it in slices into small, mid cap, international. At the end of the day, diversification is key. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket or one sector of the market.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here's another one. What if you were laid off and had a 401k? What is the first thing you should think about and why?
I'm getting this question a lot lately, as you can imagine. So,
I personally went through this. I wasn't laid off, but when I left my corporate gig in recruiting and I went on my own to do headhunting and open my business, I had a 401k.
Right.
Yeah. Right? So I asked that same advice. I think this is probably a very common question, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So the first thing you need to do is determine, are you going to need to access these funds early? Because there are going to be limitations once you roll it to an IRA. What I mean is if you're over 55, you've been laid off from a job, you can take penalty-free withdrawals from that 401k vehicle. Now, there's a little bit of a twist this year with the CARES Act that was passed, where you can take out money. Again, use it as a last resort. You do not want to tap your 401k as an emergency vehicle and have that be always in your back pocket for time after time, right? This should really be a last resort situation. But you can take up to $100,000 penalty free. So waiving that 10% penalty, you'll have to pay income taxes on that money. But the other nice thing about the CARES Act is they're letting you spread the income tax through the tax liability through 3 tax years. So 2020 through 2022 tax years, you can spread out that tax liability.
Okay.
I would 100% speak to an advisor first, though.
Okay.
Right? And a fiduciary. Someone that's not going to just say, roll it over. And, it really comes down to what your individual circumstances are. But I understand, what are the job prospects, too? If you think that you're going to be, if you're in that hotel and leisure category and things get open, shut down, right? I mean, yeah, it's a jittery time. So that could be an avenue that you may need to take. You just want to know all of your options before you do
Right.
anything.
Okay. You talked about having a financial advisor, right?
Yeah.
I think that's like a common thread with a lot of the answers, planning and having a financial advisor. So, which is the next question. What are some benefits of having a financial advisor? Can I even afford it? That's the
Oh,
question.
wow.
Well,
I think,
it's two questions into one.
yeah. And I get that a lot. Right? Like people sometimes are embarrassed to even come to me because, hey, can I afford it?
Yeah.
Um, now, the benefit is if a financial advisor is truly, focused on the planning element to your situation, you should see great benefits from that. Now, if you go to somebody and it's just transactional, they just ask a couple of, risk-oriented, very basic questions, that should be a red flag. You want someone to really kind of get under the hood and understand a little bit more about your unique situation, your family situation. That's really important. And, because without a roadmap, you're trying to get there, but you have no plan in place.
Right.
I mean, it's not just about investing in the market. Taxes are always a consideration. What vehicles should you be using? What level of risk is going to keep you in the market? You never want to sell out of fear, and there's a lot of fear that plays out in our media. And many people, have not seen their accounts recovered because of that knee-jerk reaction back in March. So I think working with the right advisor, would keep you on, on the freeway. We're not exiting, right? And why now? What's driving this fear? And if you can tie it back to the plan, that advisor is going to help you save a ton of money just by focusing in on what your individual dreams were in the first place. Because we're always going to have choppiness in the market. Now, as far as can you afford it, you should be able to, I would ask friends and family, right? Who do you use? Would they take, someone like me on? Can I have their phone number? And just ask them. I mean, I have people ask me all the time. Many will give a free consultation. In my position, I have to talk to somebody to understand, A, can I help them? Is this going to be a fit? Because we're going to be together, hopefully, for many, many years. And you want to make sure it's a fit. And then from there, what you want to do is, I can't tell somebody how much something's going to cost unless I know what's involved, right? So
yeah, I think that also goes into play with the whole trust issue, right? Because
right.
I'm a consultant as well, being a headhunter. I think people forget that. Yeah, I'm a consultant too. We talk about a fit a lot. And when I'm interviewing clients as well, like there's just some times where as much as I'd like to take on another client and do a job search, of course I would love to, it also has to do with fit. Can I logically help this person, find the talent they're looking for? And there's the trust issue. Can they trust me? And also on the candidate end too. So even though we work in two different worlds, you and I feel there's a lot of parallel to just making sure that you are interviewing your options and seeing if you can trust that person and if it's a fit. Would you say I'm pretty close there?
Oh my gosh, everything you said, absolutely. It's because I want to make sure, and you're the same way in your business. It sounds like that everybody has a level of expectation for what they're trying to get out of it. And you take in information and you think, okay, can I meet that expectation? And if you can't, you're probably going to tell them, this may not be a fit.
Right.
I'm the exact same way, right? Because I'm going to be, in some ways married to these clients for years to come. And I want to be, because my success is directly linked to their success.
Same here. Yeah. And it's, there's a lot, and you said it earlier when we were talking about I don't think we use the word vetting, but we were talking about interviewing other planners, or how I was talking about other consultants or other recruiters. Recruiters are a dime a dozen, and headhunters they're everywhere. But most of them are very transactional. So I operate on a more of a boutique feel, which I think would be pretty parallel to what you're doing, and just try to make sure that even if I don't have a search for a candidate at the time, or maybe I don't feel like I'd be the right fit for that client at the time, I'm very upfront about it, and then I'll refer them to somebody who can help, right? Because I feel like that is the best way to, build your network and help others. And I feel like I get the same feeling from you as well. And that kind of leads me into my next question, right? Because we're talking about trust and vetting and interviewing, and I was kind of going on a tangent a few minutes ago. But here's the question: what's a fiduciary, and why do you need one? I think that's a good segue into that question.
Yeah, that fancy word, fiduciary, that you never used to hear, and now it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. Yeah, so it basically means working in your client's best interest. And we have I'll send you a link, Jeremy, on our website. We have a whole page dedicated to that. As a CFP professional, as a certified financial planner, I'm already, I have a fiduciary duty or responsibility to always be on the same side of the table as the client and consider their individual circumstances. If I have conflicts of interest, I need to disclose those. So when you're working with if you're working with a CFP professional, you can be they should be 1,000% working in a fiduciary capacity, because that's what they're bound. That's what they're bound to do with those credentials. So the reason why I think it's important is some firms will direct you into a certain investment because they get a kickback, right? And they may not disclose that. That's not how we work at Nautilus. We don't get paid commissions through investment firms or mutual fund companies to put you in a particular investment. So I'm gonna steer my clients in the direction that's best suited to their financial plan.
I have another question for you.
Yeah.
I told you I had quite a few come in, right? Did you expect all? Did you expect all?
No, there's some great questions.
All right, here's another one. Kind of goes and no, actually it's pretty unique. I thought it was similar to another one, but it's not. If you lost your job, what should you do with your 401k funds? Do you leave or transfer? There's more to this. Do you leave or transfer? Where should you transfer it? You already have an IRA, but earn too much and cannot contribute to an IRA account. Last, it is hard for people to trust financial institutions after 2008. How do we find a trusted advisor?
Okay, so there's a lot of questions. This is another
maybe the last. I think we answered the last one.
Yeah.
So I'll go back to the other one. If you lost your job, what should you do with the 401k funds? And do you leave or transfer? Where should you transfer if you already have an IRA, but earn too much and cannot contribute to your IRA account?
Okay, so I think I got it all, but you tell me if I'm missing anything. So again, before you do anything, talk with a financial advisor, right? Because there are benefits of keeping it in a 401k versus an IRA, rolling it to an IRA. And you could find some benefits for rolling it to an IRA. So there's benefits on both sides that need to be evaluated and explained to you thoroughly. So if you do decide to transfer it over to a rollover IRA, you can do it as a direct rollover. Doesn't matter if you've contributed to your IRA. It has nothing to do with contribution limits, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just deemed a direct rollover, so there's no taxable event there. It doesn't, to find a trusted advisor, again, look at the CFP website, but this comes back to the question of how old are you, right? Do you need to access the funds? There are certain legal protections in 401k plans that IRAs don't have. You just have to be aware of all of those things that we're not going to cover on just this call, but that's why speaking with a trusted advisor is so important. It's just not a knee-jerk reaction to do something. You want to be thoughtful in the process.
Okay.
I feel like I'm speaking very generically, like I keep coming back to the planning. But the planning is what keeps people successful.
It's very boutique and very individualized, I think.
Yeah.
When you work with a financial advisor. And
my clients, as you know, they're like my family, and I've been working with them for years. They've traveled with me from firm to firm to firm, and new clients. I hope to build those similar relationships. I mean, it's not good when we go through something like this. It doesn't feel good. It's scary. These are the times where, my clients need me the most, as I'm sure in your industry, right? You've got many people that really need you right now and may not be able to pay you. And I don't know.
Oh, your mic cut out. Was that?
Yeah. No, I think like for you, Jeremy, you've got people that need you right now more than ever, right? And, you just maybe need an ear, like, hey, like what are you hearing or seeing or reading about the industry? Like, when's this going to come back? What's your opinion? When's this hotel going to be hiring? Or is this hotel going to be in business tomorrow?
And a lot has to do with kind of something you touched on earlier about the news being primarily negative, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people in my industry are constantly Google searching what's going to happen in the industry. So I honestly don't get into that too much. My opinions come from, I'm on the phone all day, Monday through Friday, like 6 to 6. I'm at my desk and I'm on the phone almost the whole day with SVPs, directors, property management, across the board, leaders in the industry. And from for me, the date was March 12th. I mean, that's the date that rings to me that I really got slapped in the face and noticed everything. I know it happened much earlier, but I really started to see the ripple effect in March 12th. But from that day, I've taken like what I think is going to happen in the industry, and the way I'm approaching everything comes from the accumulation of all the conversations that I have every single day. And every time I go into these calls, sometimes I'll have like a president on the phone that I respect like immensely, who's in operations, and I'll say to them, hey, I want to run my idea by you on what I think is going to happen or when we're going to bounce back. And I challenge you to, if you hear anything that is inconsistent or wrong, please challenge me and stop me, because going forward, I'm going to add it to, my accumulation of my conversations, because then when I talk to the next person, I can add that in. And so far, I really haven't had many argue with me. And I've talked to people, I mean, I don't want to drop names, so I won't, but like some heavy hitters in the industry, and we're all pretty much on the same page. So long story short, I stay away from, like you said, the negative news, and really try to just get my ear to the street, hear what's going on the property level and a corporate level. And I'm sure that you're doing the same. Am I right?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, of course. I mean, I do a lot of research, right? A lot of reading and from different sources. And I'm not saying I don't watch the news. Of course, I get it.
Oh yeah, I do too. But I take it with a grain of salt. Yeah.
That doesn't dictate my decisions, right? The market is forward-looking, so any bit of good news, right, the market likes, and we know that volatility is part of the game. But if you're going to get, off the ride mid-ride, if you're going to jump from the roller coaster when you're mid-ride, then that's not a good ending.
I'll tell you this. This is why I believe hospitality is coming back, right?
Yeah.
I'm a headhunter. I can go anywhere. I can go do what I do in another niche.
Yeah.
I didn't double down. I tripled down. I got more involved. I put myself out there more because I believe and I know it's going to come back. And when it does, it's going to be super successful. Now, do I think it's going to happen knee jerk? No, of course not. That's asinine. But I do know it will come back, and I'm making sure that I'm a huge player in that industry when it does.
Yeah.
And if I didn't believe it was coming back, so that, I mean, I'm saying this to all the people out there in hospitality that are nervous. Oh my God, it's going to come back. Yeah, it will. I'm still here. I don't have to be here. I can leave.
Right.
I'm here. So,
Yeah.
maybe I'm crazy.
And may I add that because you've financially planned for this event, right? This is allowing you to triple down on this industry that you love. You obviously love this industry, and you didn't jump off and say, I'm going to go somewhere else, or I think the money is over here. Like you're in it because you love it. And that's the same thing with investing, right? That's maybe a takeaway for your audience. Invest in things that you love or that you use. And if you get pushback from someone that says, oh, well, you can't because X, Y, Z, maybe get a second opinion, because you want it customized to your life. Because, hey, maybe you wouldn't have sold your Apple stock, when the market bottomed out if you owned it, right? Because you use your iPhone every day. I'm not soliciting Apple stock. That's not the point, but that's just an example, right? Yeah. I find that when people love what they do or love what they invest in, they're going to stay in there. Okay. And that's going to make a huge difference in your returns long term. There was something I was going to ask you about your industry. Yes. Do you think, because this is just me, I don't work in your industry at all, but, I feel like myself, there's so much pent up demand to just go to I know we can sit on patios and all that. Just eating out isn't that much fun to me these days. But, we recently went to a hotel in Palm Desert because we just had to look at a different scenery. Yeah. And although it's over 100 degrees there, and although the pool time was limited to 2 hours a day, right? So nothing's open. What do? You just sit in your hotel room. Yeah. Or you want to be at the pool all day. You don't want to be limited to 2 hours. But yeah, we still had a great time because of just being in the hotel environment. So kind of my takeaway from that was, if I'm feeling this way and being limited to 2 hours a day and 110 temperatures, and I'm still okay with it, with 2 small children, might I add, then gosh, I must have really just had that pent up demand, didn't care, I'm going anyway, right? And I feel like, do you feel like what's your feeling on it?
I mean, there's a lot to parse there. Yes, there is. I mean, I'm hearing that a lot, is the pent up demand, and we had little spurts of it, but we just never got, us as a nation, didn't really get COVID under control. So it's kind of like little teasers, right? But I believe, and I'm only speaking for Florida here, because the rest of the country and the way it impacts the markets in hospitality across the country is different. So Florida is a whole other animal. Like our season is yin yang to the rest of the country. Our season is I mean, end of quarter 4, there's a little bit. Quarter 1, quarter 2, great for us, right? We get hammered. Where it's the opposite in the rest of the country. They're summertime, vacation spots, right? Long story short, Florida, I think, is really going to get hammered with business quarter one, because you have the election over. No matter where you vote, I'm not getting into Republican, Democrat.
Stay away.
Yeah. I'm just saying it will be done. Right. And then, November 3rd, and then by January, quarter 1, that will be out of our face, right? So that's done. That's a huge, huge, huge issue with everything that's going on, because there's a lot of, we'll stay away from that. And then the vaccine is supposed to be out. Some people are saying quarter 4, but definitely by quarter 1. I mean, all you got to do, talk about the news being negative, if you just type in the words COVID vaccine search, typically, if there's bad news, it's going to be even worse when you see a Google search. Most of the stuff that's getting reported is positive. So that tells me it's around the corner. So vaccine announced and out, and then election done. That's going to be pushing you into quarter one, quarter two. People are just going to be like hitting that Expedia button and Travelocity and just like booking their hotels, right? Because they want to get the hell out of the house. Talk about conservative. You guys left the house. My wife's an ICU nurse at Tampa General Hospital. I have a high-risk mother-in-law who's elderly that lives here, and a toddler. So I am hunkered down, hardly a go out, always got masks, cleaner, groceries, all that stuff. And I tell you what, I'll be out. I can't wait to get out of here. So I guess that's a long answer to your question, but the pent-up demand thing is real. I do think that I'm not saying it's going to be a knee-jerk, hit coming back all at once, V-shaped recovery, whatever they call it. But it's definitely going to be in 21 in hospitality. It's going to start in Florida. I definitely feel that. And I think it's going to, it's going to come back. I mean, people are just ready. And there's going to be think about this too. A lot of properties and hotels aren't going to make it. A lot of restaurants aren't going to make it. So the ones that are left, think about the demand that they're going to have.
Yeah.
There's going to be less beds available, less seats available with that pent-up demand. So whoever's left is going to be annihilated. And that goes into a whole other story and a whole other conversation about hiring. So I'll spare you that one. But did I answer your question?
Yeah, that does. That does.
Right.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Jeremy, for having me on today.
I appreciate it.
Hopefully, your viewers get something out of it, and I'll send you some links. I heard some common questions, so I'll send you some links that you can provide.
Of
course, if anyone has questions, they can use me as a resource. I'm happy to help during a hard time.
Any final plugs that you wanna address or say, or I'll put your email on right now.
I would just say, don't be afraid of asking for help. I think that you will get turned away maybe from some advisors that, for whatever reason, don't want to work in whatever capacity. But, there will be someone out there that's going to align with your values. And, so don't give up if you feel like you can't find someone to help you. I really truly believe in the financial planning process. I started from, I got zero help from my parents growing up, and I had to figure it out. 4 part-time jobs through college, and pieced it all together through writing everything down. So I'm huge into that.
Good. Well, I thank you for taking the time. I know we've probably gone a lot longer than you anticipated, so I guess that's my gift to gab. But
well, this has been fun, Jeremy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and
good luck to you. Good luck to your industry, and let's hope that Q1 is on target, if not earlier.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy. All right,
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.